Well, hello, everyone. It's the new year. We got lots of exciting things. Last week, I talked about weight loss in advance of all the food that we were going to eat for New Year's and getting our New Year's resolutions and whatnot. But this week, we're talking about a little bit more serious topic. I'm going to be talking about arthritis. And so thank you for joining me and plugging into this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and video, audio. So hopefully everybody will still be able to see me. So those of you, who are here, if you can't see me, let me know that something's not right on the screen. But I think we've kind of gotten a rhythm down now. Okay, can everybody see me and see my screen? If not, let me know. Counting down. We are live on Facebook also, so that if you know anybody after we finish this segment on arthritis, if you know anybody that you want to share this with, you can certainly send them to the WAVwatch Frequency Fanatics. And it is a private group, so they would have to join, but it's just a click. And you can share this or do whatever that you would like to with it, because the information is on Facebook now being live. Just wanted to talk about the WAVwatch just a little bit. Sometimes I cover the disclaimer, and today I just want to cover some advantages of the WAVwatch. Basically, we've got hundreds of sound frequencies, and there's no cords or messy wires or patches. Once in a while, somebody wants to know why they can't use the earbuds, or why I'm not using earbuds. And that's because we don't want to have messy cords. They could. I don't provide earbuds for you, but if you wanted to hear that bee buzzing sound in your ears, you could. But they have proven that sound goes through your skin and through your bones, so that it's not a necessity necessarily to hear everything in your ear. But you're welcome to use the WAVwatch that way. Sometimes people do like to put it maybe on their countertop and play so that the sound can hear, and then their pets can hear it. And so I've had several people tell me that that's been successful for anxiety for their pets, which I thought was really interesting. Also, we have no internet connectivity. There's no EMFs, and that is huge. So many people are understanding the importance of being very, very careful with our internet services, and that it's very, sometimes it's so negative and even deadly when we are wearing things that are connected to the internet. Or maybe I shouldn't have said the word deadly, but that is my belief. It goes on and on and on, some of the damage that is being done from the EMFs. There's no monthly fee. It's all inclusive, even for hearing. Everybody can use it. Your kids can use it. Your dogs can use it. Your cats can use it. Seniors can use it. And I even have somebody that has it in his horse barn, and he uses it for his horse every day that he is working with. It's a little bit older. It's 34 years old. It's a horse. And so I guess he's taken really good care of it, and he's choosing to add sound frequencies into that. So I think that makes it really, really interesting. And then the last thing about the WAVwatch, it's cost effective. So there are so many choices on here, and sometimes it might be too many, but I looked around at some other ideas, and I wanted to give you bang for your buck. I mean, I've mentioned several times that there's a mosquito watch that, you wear. I shouldn't say a watch. It's just a little idea on your wrist. It's a wristband with frequencies for mosquitoes, and it is $40. But I have the same frequencies on the WAVwatch with 849 other frequencies. And so you can see how that could be really crazy if you're trying to figure out which tool has which frequencies on it. So we want as many frequencies as we can, and we want it cost effective. So that's why I kind of think the WAVwatch is the watch of the future here, or the wave of the future. Now, I have a testimony, and hopefully we'll be able to hear it. Sometimes I have trouble with my audio, but this is a testimony, and you'll...
Hi, my name is Carolyn St. Pierre. I have been using the WAVwatch for about a month now.
I bet you can't hear that, can you? It's very soft, so turn your speaker up as loud as you can. My speaker is already up.
Within the first week, my major condition, which was actually a disability, was a inflamed nerve root on S2, S3, resulting from Tarlov cyst surgery. I had extreme pain at night, increasing based on what I did during the day. Within one night of wearing the WAVwatch, that pain has been resolved. I now can walk. I could not walk. I could walk, but no more than half a mile, and then very slowly. Now I can go for a walk with my husband. I walk as fast as he does. My life is back to normal. I'm doing great there. I also have vitiligo. I'm working on that. I'm noticing some difference, but I think I probably have to wait until the cells regenerate themselves to see whether the melanocytes, which have been killed off by my immune system, whether they are back. So I'm working on that part. Also, I'm working on cholesterol, doing the detox on the liver, detox on kidneys, working through all of the parts. I haven't resolved that yet, but 100% my pain is gone. I'm walking a normal walk, living a normal life, buzzing around, loving it. Our neighbors are all excited about this. They're coming over because the watches are on back order. They're coming over and sitting with my watch, and they're experiencing the same things. Pain is gone, other things we're working on. Thank you. Hi.
So my whole idea on showing you that video that isn't necessarily about arthritis is the idea that, of course, I'm going to show and get videos from people who have had good testimonies and successes. But there are people out there who are not having success. And when I talk to them, especially in the arthritis area or joint area, they are playing this folder right here. And they might just be playing one idea, and that's it. And sometimes that's not the way the WAVwatch needs to work. We need to learn about our personal health and other ideas that can be causing arthritis or, neck pain or whatever. We need to learn just a little bit more. So that's the whole purpose of these, webinars, is to show people other ideas that might be connected to the particular area that we're talking about that day. So she had some success. And so I have a video. But I'm not going to get a video necessarily of somebody who hasn't had success. I'm going to get, some feedback on the phone or whatever. And so, I do want to share with you that people need to try a few more things. And so if you have the WAVwatch, or you're going to suggest the WAVwatch to somebody, you might, make a few notations or help them and say, oh, what are you going to use it for? Oh, I'm going to suggest that, you try the arthritis if that's what your main problem is, but also go to bacteria, go to viruses. And so we're going to be talking about this today because they are now making bigger discoveries that many things are connected to different types of pain that maybe people don't know about. So these are all the areas for joints on the WAVwatch, and that's in one folder. And so somebody that's got pain all over their body, they could play all of those almost. That way it makes it a lot easier. Each one of those is a 30-minute segment, and they can play through those for quite a while. So that's a good place to get started, is to know somebody's kind of pain. but it does go on. This is how bad our stats are in America today. Osteoarthritis affects 32.5 million adults. And then if we dig just a little bit deeper, knee osteoarthritis affects 800,000 people each year. And it's chronic and it gets worse, you know. And then the CDC estimates that 1 in 4 adults have some form of arthritis, 54.4 million possibility. You know, that number's is changing, but so many people are going to have arthritis of some kind. And further on down in a slide, I've got all the names of some different kinds of arthritis. It just goes on and on and on. So we are really connected with arthritis pain. You're not going to know one person that has arthritis. You're probably going to know 10 people, you know, in your circle that has arthritis. It's just 1 in 4 people could have some form of arthritis. So this is a big thing for the WAVwatch. If we look just a little bit deeper, if you want to see what's going on here, these symptoms develop slowly. And their joints, you know, could hurt after movement. You're going to be tender, there's stiffness, loss of flexibility. I don't know if I need to describe arthritis, but some people have a grating sensation. Bone spurs are connected to that. So they're going to have, you know, some hard lumps sometimes around that joint. And again, lots of swelling and inflammation. So that's why I say the very first thing, if you don't know what to tell somebody to play inflammation, pain, and trauma. And that is the first frequency on the WAVwatch under chronic. But I have also built inflammation, pain, and trauma into each one of those ideas that I showed you previously. Right up here, every time you're playing joint support, or the ankylosing spondylitis or whatever on that slide, half of that time, about a 30-minute time limit, is inflammation, pain, and trauma. And then the other half is for the specific problem that they are dealing with. So that means that you've got it all built in. Some people may not read the directions and know that that inflammation trauma is so important. So I built it in for you. So it makes it a little bit easier. But if you can remember that, sometimes that goes right to some of the ideas that people are needing help with, the inflammation. Now, I did have somebody the other day that called and he hadn't had any success with his pain. It was more a rib pain. And he basically said that he had been playing the inflammation, pain, and trauma over and over again. But when I talked to him, it really sounded to me like he had a rib that was out. And so I made some suggestions for him. And that's basically because I've been around Vienna Schmidt here in this area, or Dunham, Vienna Schmidt Dunham. And she works with putting your ribs back in. So some of you in different areas might, you know, tuck that in the back of your mind, that there is so many problems with our ribs being out that can cause different kinds of pain. So he is looking into that because the watch did not help him. But I also told him to, you know, be on this call if he could, to learn a little bit more about bacteria and things that do cause and make some connections with these problems. So here's what it looks like with some knee arthritis. You know, the big title here is Common Treatments May Make the Condition Worse. So I saw this several different times, that what we're doing standard medically may not be as good as it has been touted to be. So in a recent study by the Radiological Society of North America, they are saying that 2 studies have shown that corticosteroid injections that are used to treat knee osteoarthritis may actually cause more problems. I hope you can see that on there. Maybe I should have made the printing just a little bit bigger. But patients who received an injection of hyaluronic acid, which is natural, or did nothing at all, they had less medical problems and less progression, and their bones held up better than doing what the system suggested. I'm trying to phase that very, very nicely, but I think you get the idea. The corticosteroid injections were actually harming them and causing the progression to be quicker. So what is this hyaluronic acid that they're talking about that we should be using? So I wanted to make sure that everybody heard about this. I'm not saying that WAVwatch is the be all end all. I'm saying there's some other things that we could look at too. Like I've already suggested, getting somebody's ribs, make sure that none of the ribs were out. And then here's another idea, if you haven't heard about this. So this is a natural acid that's, they describe it as a gooey substance that your body produces. And it's all over our body, especially in the eyes and the joints and the skin. And it's touted for use in osteoarthritis, skin wrinkles, and dry eyes. But of course, in a little bit bigger print on the right side, you'll notice that this natural substance in our body, the hyaluronic, is problematic with when we age, solar events, ultraviolet rays, radiation, smoking, and air pollutants. So I guess that covers most of us, doesn't it? We're all going to be exposed to some of those ideas that cause the HA to be less prevalent in our body. So there's different ways that we can add it back to our body in all different forms. And I was kind of overwhelmed to even suggest something for people to try. I have had hyaluronic acid in 2 or 3 different pill versions. Now they have it in a little pump and something where you can inject it under your skin. You can do your own eye treatments. I guess I'm saying maybe it's different than Botox, but it's a natural gooey substance that you're injecting under in some of your wrinkles, and it's supposed to be pain-free, and you can do that in your home. Now, I haven't tried that, and I was really having fun with, wow, that would be a neat idea, because so many people are actually doing Botox. And I went to a convention in Las Vegas, and some of the women walking around with the Botox was, I'm going to say the word embarrassing. I just wanted to take them by the hand and say, wow, there's some other easier things that you could do. So hopefully, if you're interested in this, if you're having some pain, which basically every 1 in 4 of us is going to be having some problems with some kind of arthritis. So you might want to step up and have something for that joint pain, because it can be progressive. You might want to be looking at these ideas. Of course, you're already going to be playing your WAVwatch, and I can't say that it has a frequency for HA built into it, the hyaluronic acid, but it has so many other things. If somebody were to measure the hyaluronic acid, it might be built into it. That might be part of the reason why it does seem to work very, very well on different kinds of joint pain. Now, these are some food sources of HA. And so if we're eating correctly, we're going to get a lot of different foods that have it naturally for us. So no wonder I love sweet potatoes and carrots, garlic, celery. I'm not sure about the soybeans, but bone broth has a lot of HA in it naturally. So a lot of our fruits do also. So if we're eating a different source, a good type of foods, and eating varieties, we're going to have something that has HA in it for us. Now, on the right side, there are all the ways that you can take HA. It can be, injected. can be under the skin, in the joint. There are powder forms of it, tablets, capsules, soft gels, eye drops, gels, sprays, cream, liquid, serum. So that's why I was saying I didn't want to recommend anything in particular, just the idea that there's so much out there that we can look at. And once you get into looking at some makeups and see that name once in a while, you'll recognize it in some of our creams and lotions and things like that. But it is a very important product. And again, we finally have some feedback from 2 different studies, again, that show that some of the things that we're doing for our joints are really harmful to us. So that means we need to take control. I guess that's what I'm saying. We have to learn this some way. And if we're concerned about joints, even for ourselves or our spouse, we need to be gathering up the food. We need to be getting some type of HA according to that need, whether you decide a gel or a cream or, one of the pumps would be good, whatever works for you. But we've got to do that studying ourselves and prepare, because if our only choices go to the mainstream and choose their choices, we are going to be a little bit disappointed. We can do better ourselves. Now, if we switch gears just a little bit or continue to talk about rheumatoid arthritis, it's an autoimmune condition, and it develops when the immune system attacks itself. And antibodies fight off these viruses and bacteria normally, but then all of a sudden, for some reason, they begin to attack the joints. Now, I think most of us have seen pictures of rheumatoid arthritis. I looked at putting some pictures in of rheumatoid arthritis, and they are very scary, for people to see if you've ever been around somebody. But there's been more and more information out about the rheumatoid arthritis, and they are finally saying that there's a bacteria that can be causing this. So in a few, 1 out of 5 cases of rheumatoid arthritis, that's some kind of a bacteria that they found in the stomach. It was the first time in the intestines. And they've named this name on the right, subdolagranulum. I'm not sure if I'm getting close on that. And diddly. And that says, I was so glad to see that maybe I didn't have to be a perfect pronouncer, because it's Cherokee for arthritis or rheumatism. So that last part of the word, the diddleski, however you want to say that, is Cherokee. And the trainer, the scientist on this program, the lead author in the study that found this, said that, let me skip one more time. She said that the Cherokee name is in recognition of the disease burden and acknowledgement of contributions throughout history of indigenous scholars. So to translate it just a little bit easier, she's saying that a lot of Indians have a huge problem with arthritis, and it is out of the statistics don't fit them. So I don't know that I've seen a specific statistic, except that it's much, much heavier with problems on arthritis and rheumatism in the Indian group. So lots of us have Indian heritage, and that may be an explanation a little bit more of why we could be having some trouble with arthritis. But she's saying that, wow, we found one bacteria. There could be other factors that there's, trying to study to see if there's anything else and what other kinds of bacteria. She said it's just a very start of learning about this, that we are not fully educated. Again, I'm trying to place my words correctly here. We're not educated enough to be able to tell everybody everything that's bothering their system. So they finally have some good evidence that this is happening. Now, the other thing, you also want to say no to antibiotics for rheumatoid arthritis. You're saying, oh, I heard that it was caused by a bacteria in some cases. And so, of course, you would think immediately of antibiotics, that they could be helpful. But they are saying again that antibiotics are going to eliminate helpful and harmful bacteria in the gut. So that isn't the way to go, because some of these bacteria could be triggering the autoimmune response. And then you take antibiotics and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So again, we have got to learn on our own and try to figure out some things to do. So the WAVwatch is a good start. You all have it already. Now, if you want to dig just a little bit deeper, these are some things that you could put in the back of your mind if you're talking to somebody or somebody that's having some trouble. Numbness and tingling in the hands and feet. The joints are warm. They might be red and discolored. Pain in the big toe. There's a lot of gout associated with that. Joint pain, swelling, stiffness, dry eyes and mouth, disrupted sleep, low-grade fever, fatigue, depression and mood changes. And see, here we go to emotions again. So these were some clues. And I gave the source where I got this chart from. I thought it was a nice chart to just be reminding us very quickly of some of the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. Now, again, medically, they're going to have some prescriptions, some things that you could try. Again, that's your choice. I just want to educate you that there's so many other things that you could be doing. And some of those things could be a little bit dangerous or backwards to your system. So again, the antibiotics and the corticosteroids are not necessarily going to be as good as they have been touted for our system. So these are some types of arthritis. The ankylosing spondylitis, gout. There's a juvenile idiopathic arthritis. There's osteoarthritis, psoriatic arthritis, reactive arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, septic arthritis, and even thumb arthritis. So I don't have codes for all of those on the WAVwatch. I have codes for the rheumatoid and arthritis and the ankylosing spondylitis, but I wasn't able to cover all of those. At some point in time, maybe I'll put a few more in, but that's why we want to play inflammation, pain, and trauma and keep adding to some things that we could also be playing. So these are some great types of these are some types of arthritis, and then we have some possible suggestions for them. Now, this is where I'm really getting down to the brass tacks here. There are many viruses connected to arthritis. So you do want to play that pathogen folder. And arthritis can be caused by rubella. It can be caused by the parvovirus, the alpha viruses, the HIV, the cytomegalovirus, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, Epstein-Barr virus. And then the Epstein-Barr virus and the B19, the parvovirus, have significant roles. So they may start causing some other joint diseases, not necessarily rheumatoid. So we get into several different ideas that viruses can be connected to. And I think several of you have heard my testimony before, but just in case, it's just good to let you know that when I put the pathogen folder together, I was experimenting on myself, and I was just walking around my house, playing the pathogen folder through from start to finish. Don't forget, you just set the double arrows on the lower left-hand corner, and it played through all 25 of those ideas that I had in that folder. But about halfway through, of course, my screen had gone blank, and that saves energy for you. That's the normal, what it's supposed to do. But about halfway through, I literally felt a great stab. I mean, it was like a stabbing sensation in both of my thumbs. So I'm saying I must have had thumb arthritis. It was getting really sore right there. And I'd had that for a year and a half, and I was trying some different things on it, all kinds of creams and gels. I hadn't had a great turnover, but I felt the stabbing sensation right there. It probably lasted, I don't know, 10 to 20 seconds. It wasn't that long, but it was enough for me to go, you know, and then I was able to touch my screen, hold the button, the lower left button for about a second. And so I could see my screen. And then when I looked at my screen, it was playing the Epstein-Barr virus. So that was a big clue to me for my health. And so I hope some of you are able to do that. If you've noticed that your body is reacting to something, you're feeling something, try to activate your watch so you can see what's playing on the screen. So I'm going, wow, what does that mean? That's a cancer-causing virus, that's also arthritic, and that's all I knew. I thought, well, what's that mean? And just it played through the next one. It went on and kept playing. And that's the only one that I felt anything on. Well, the next morning I woke up and all of my arthritis was gone. And it's been gone for over 1.5 years. So literally 8 minutes of playing Epstein-Barr virus changed whatever could be labeled in my hands. I was saying arthritis. It hadn't been medically diagnosed, but it is gone. And if I feel even a little twinge, or if I work my hands a lot, use them, I'll play that. I did play the Epstein-Barr virus, probably on a loop an hour later, and I played it for the next day. I played it for an hour and looped it, isolated it, and looped it. So hopefully you'll be able to figure that out, because that's what you want to know as you play through some of those folders. If some of your joints or your bones or your muscles feel something, that gives you a clue right there. I'm not saying it's a medical diagnosis. I'm just saying it gives you a clue of what your body is reacting to. So hopefully that will give you some information there. Now, there's a whole new area or different phrasing, and a lot of people the neuropathy is a very different, it's a joint disease. So we have labels in the folder for, joint support, and then the neuropathy, which is a joint disease. And these are some things that they're just suggesting that you could do to protect yourself from some bone disease. So basically, you're going to be wearing that WAVwatch for that particular code. You're going to be hopefully, always working on our posture. I see that I have to do that more and more myself. We're always looking at our weight. We're trying to take calcium and vitamin D supplements. I'm not so much into the calcium. I'm more into the vitamin D and getting outside. I think some of the calcium supplements are highly overrated. So do pay attention to that. Hopefully you're doing some workouts. You're, doing some protection when you're doing heavy lifting and things like that, and that you have a good work atmosphere. So those were some simple things that sometimes we don't think about, that when our bones start to kind of go backwards on us a little bit, we need to pay attention and make sure that we are doing something for that. So neuropathy is an overall phrasing for joint disease. And so arthritis is included in there. But they can also be associated with a blood disorder or an infection, such as Lyme disease. So we've talked about Lyme disease. I did 2 workshops on Lyme disease. So Lyme disease is huge. So if you're having some joint pain of any kind, Lyme disease is one of the folders that you should be playing. So that's another tip that you could tell people if they, they have sore joints, but they played the knee pain and it didn't do anything for them. They played back pain on the WAVwatch and it didn't do anything. Here's another phrase. Oh, did you try the Lyme disease? That is associated with problems with our joints. So we need to be using as many ideas as we can. Just because something on the WAVwatch is labeled, back pain, doesn't mean that it's the be all end all for helping somebody's back. So try to get people to try more things. And it's just a way to absolutely protect ourselves and be on the defense, because Lyme disease can, we can be outside, raking leaves or whatever, and have problems with Lyme disease all of a sudden. Lyme disease, they're not telling us a lot of information but it's passed easily. It's almost infectious. I would be very worried about Lyme disease. If someone in my family had it, to make sure that everybody else doesn't get it. We have to be very, very careful. So lots of things about Lyme disease that they're not telling us. So again, just because we're around many people, play Lyme disease once in a while for a preventive. Play the pathogen folder, which is my idea for a cancer preventive. So anyway, there are more and more kinds of neuropathy. And we need to be looking at working with some prevention techniques on them. I have just a couple more ideas. A lot of times people have emailed and asked to know a specific frequency, or they want to know the frequencies for all 850 ideas. And I can't do that, but today I took the time to show you some specific frequencies. And this is what I have coded into the WAVwatch behind the scenes. So the rheumatoid arthritis, these are all in hertz, but so the frequency, 250, 650, 625, 600, 787, 727, 262, 776, 766 are all in the WAVwatch, included in that rheumatoid arthritis frequency. And that's why it makes a distinct sound that is different from osteoarthritis, which just has 3 on this particular list. And then there's another code set of frequencies for arthritis. Now, don't forget that I've showed you before that these have all been measured by about 12 different major groups, and they've been published. And this one is called the Consolidated Annotated Frequency List. And so if you wanted to look that up, you can find those frequencies. I didn't invent anything. I just used them, So maybe if you have a frequency, a need to know a particular frequency that is included, you could look a lot of those up. Now, I had somebody tell me that they were really worried that there were some negative frequencies out there, and I forgot the number. I think somebody said 719 was a very, very bad frequency. I'm not going to go there. I don't believe all of that. Anything that is acoustical, they would have figured out years ago that you can't tone this sound. You can't play this sound on a saxophone or a clarinet because it would drive people crazy, So I don't really believe that acoustical frequencies are negative. I do believe that our bodies have trouble with the low frequencies or the high ultra wave frequencies. Those are not naturally in our body. But anything that's in the acoustical frequency range, obviously, that's how I put the WAVwatch together, tends to be safe. There would not be a reason, because these are songs. All of these frequencies can be used or toned. Our voices have these frequencies. So they are generally considered safe. Couple other ideas too that you might want to look at playing strep pneumonia, chlamydia pneumonia, mycoplasma fermentans, and dental bacteria. And the mycoplasma one is in the pathogen folder. So, you can look up a few different things. We have the internet at our fingertips. And if you want to know more about something or any suspected different pathogens that could be causing arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis or whatever you're interested in, you could find that information on the internet. If you haven't, if this doesn't fulfill and give you enough ideas to play, you might find another idea, and then it might be on the WAVwatch. But do not worry if it's not specifically on the WAVwatch, because I took a lot of time putting together general bacteria folders, general virus folders, general parasite folders, and that type of thing. And this comes from Hulda Clark. She was a naturopathic doctor in the 1980s. She also had a PhD, And she said she discovered that different frequencies for different pathogens were in a band. So that bacteria all had a band of frequencies that, are in this area here. And maybe viruses were up in a band this direction. And maybe molds were in a band of frequencies that was lower. So what I've done on the WAVwatch, because I couldn't put, frequencies for 400 different viruses on the WAVwatch, but I could put frequencies that went for that particular band that covered those. And so those are general frequencies. But I did put some individualized frequencies in that could be helpful if you think, if you look in the pathogen folder or the bacterial folder by itself. So the list that I gave you right here in the middle kind of includes that. I don't have all of those frequencies in that middle column, though, which says all of the bacterial species associated with oral infections. I don't have every single one of those, but they are built into the dental folder. So when you play dental folder, we get a lot of diseases from our teeth, and they are definitely connected with arthritis and with rheumatoid arthritis, and the list goes on and on. So here's another idea that I hadn't introduced yet, but if you know somebody that's got some joint problems, they could have teeth that are causing these problems. So again, play the dental area, play the bacteria folders, the virus folders, play everything that's in the germ folder, and see if you have any success then. Don't just stop by playing the knee problem or the arm or the shoulder, whatever. Play around so that you're getting deep into the cause of it. Maybe you've had some changes with your pain, or your friend has, or whoever you've introduced the watch to. Maybe you've had some changes, but make sure that you're learning through some of these ideas to play a little bit more, think outside the box, so that you're trying to eliminate the root cause of the problem. And so my example again is Epstein-Barr virus. It took 8 minutes, and I haven't had any thumb pain or arthritis since then. So I think that did pretty good for me. It may not for everybody. I just happened to luck into it. But now I can share that with you. And that's what other people are doing or sharing. So I'm kind of winding down. I've had this quote before, and I do want to push that information to you so that you can maybe phrase that to other people also. But the wave frequencies, music, wave frequencies, our voices, they all are frequencies that carry 100% of the information into your body. So if you're toning, I mean, there are several studies of women who have learned to tone and hum a particular tone, which could be measured in a hertz frequency. They didn't publish it, but they learned to tone. And within 3 months, their breast cancer was considered gone. So when we are toning, we do know that 100% of those waves, those vibrations, are carried into our body. And if there is a matching problem in our body that's sitting there with a vibration, if we send a matching exact resonant frequency into our body, they're going to interact, and we're going to have some changes, because this information is 100% absorbed, and the information on a wave or a frequency of vibration travels at over the speed of sound. I have learned through my studies, I may not be exactly correct because I'm not a physicist, but I'm saying 4.3 times the speed of sound is how fast these vibrations from the WAVwatch or our voice travels through our body. But they do know that frequencies that are measured from chemicals, and it doesn't matter, quote unquote, whether it's a supplement or whether it is a prescription, these go through our body a lot slower, and the heat of our body wears them down and kind of breaks them up. So they do make a vibration. This prescription has a vibration, but it goes through our body very slowly, and only 2% of it is absorbed. So I'm apologizing. I got through that the long way, and I was trying to phrase it so that you could phrase it very quickly to tell somebody else. But 2% of the improvement, 2% of the frequencies from chemicals are going to be absorbed by your body. And that's why they tell you, you need to try this drug for 6 months. You need to try this supplement even. Same thing, sadly, but it much, much better. And you're going to have some results with those supplements. But the idea is still the same. They will travel slowly through your body, whereas a signal, an acoustical vibration will travel faster than the speed of sound through your body. So I think I'm kind of finishing up here. Maybe I was a little bit long-winded today, but I hope you've gotten some more ideas for using the WAVwatch today, especially with the joints, because that's why most people are concerned. They've got pain, they've got joint pain, they've got arthritis, they have something that is going on. So I am now open if anybody wants to share any ideas or add anything to our Zoom call today.
Hey, Linda.
Yeah.
It's Shafia Lau, and I just wanted to emphasize your multidiscipline approach to things. And so I have an example. I've been dealing with AFib that's secondary to mold toxicity. So when I get stressed, I go into AFib, and I was running all these different programs on the WAVwatch: AFib, circulation, vagus nerve, which controls the heart, probably ran pathogens, inflammation. It was going on for 4 days and wasn't stopping. And then my husband and I looked at each other and said, I wonder, this was like literally 3 weeks ago. And when we found out that morning that they had just sent up another slew of satellites, which would shift the amount of EMFs in the atmosphere. And I decided to play EMF detox. And within 15 minutes, I got out of AFib. And I thought that was pretty amazing that, you know, we finally figured out, well, it might be something we haven't thought of. EMFs. All right, let's try that. And it did the trick. So I just wanted to point out, sometimes it's something that's you don't think of because you just don't think of things that are invisible, that you can't see, touch, hear, taste.
Oh, Shafia, that is such a good testimony, you know, because I mean, I'm sorry you had to go through that, you know, but that your perseverance and just thinking through, and how many of us are affected by that. So that's a great one to add, is more playing the detox, the EMFs, and but specifically that too. Wow. I had not thought about that, but you do hear of the 5G, you know, bothering some things, don't you? Thank you.
5G just keeps getting worse. And although there are people who insist it's disinformation, there is more and more scientific evidence to show that COVID is worse in areas of 5G concentration, that somehow there's a synergy here.
Yes. And there is some kind of a chart. I haven't seen it lately, but they've traced a lot of the viral infections to when we opened up different types of the 5G, you know, 1G, 2G, however that went, you know, once there was always a virus connected with that. Maybe somebody's seen that chart before. And it also connected the 1918 flu with introduction of radio waves and some things like that. So that was interesting.
Right. And going back to the book, The Invisible Rainbow by Furstenberg goes into detail on that.
So we have to be careful with those. And, it's a little touchy subject for some people that don't believe that, but that's why I do try to make a point that the WAVwatch doesn't have any EMFs in it. Very, very much so. And then one other thing that I wanted to share was that, and I've mentioned this before, but I've had women come in who actually wore their cell phone in their bra. And one lady had 3 kinds of breast cancer underneath her cell phone, where's the outline of her cell phone. Another lady had to change work and she had to wear her cell phone. She wore it in her pocket really tight. And within just within 6 months or so, she had a huge ovarian cyst underneath the area where she wore her cell phone. And then the worst one that I have told people about before, and I hate to be repetitious, but you never know who's, different on the call. But I had an older lady that was like 84, 82, and she was crippled a little bit. And so she was always leaning, and she had a Lifeline alert, and it hung crooked on her because of her posture, and she developed breast cancer under her life alert that she had within just a 6 to 8 month time period, or possibly a year. I've forgotten the exact time, but within a short time, she had developed breast cancer under that tool that seniors are wearing to be alerted when they are in trouble. So that tool caused the problem. Isn't that sad? I mean, I can't emphasize it any more than that. So, Shafia, the information that you gave was just amazing that you've tracked it down to your AFib possibly being caused by that. Perfect. All right. Anybody else want to say something?
Hi, Linda. It's Betty.
Hi, Betty.
I just got today, I don't know if there's anything in the watch that would help with this, but I just got today a message from, oh, now I can't find it. Newsmax. I get, messages as they come across my phone, and it had something to do with the climate change. There's some kind of company out there promoting the climate change that's putting toxic particles of something in the air. So, I mean,
The only thing, oh, go ahead.
I don't know if there's anything on the watch, but I just, wanted people to be aware of it. I haven't done any research on it. I just got it this morning. I thought, here it comes, all this stuff that they've been talking about is starting to happen, and it's very scary.
So the WAVwatch, the detox category does have chemtrails, and it has heavy metal detox and, radiation and EMF. Sick building syndrome, might be something, so there's quite a few in the detox category that might help with that, but it's hard to say, because what new combination have they dreamed up, and that's why you want to play through everything, because maybe there's one little frequency in one of them, that is, what's really needed to help you out just a little bit.
Okay.
I have definitely believed in chemtrails for over 15 years, and that they're spraying something or getting something. So you never know.
Right.
Everybody has different theories. So
I'll go with the detox then.
Yep. Play the detox. And so, all of us should be playing detox. To me, if you're outside, you come inside, you play the WAVwatch for detox. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? And how are you doing today?
Took me a second to unmute. Much better.
Oh, good.
Much better. Thank you. Yeah, I could have texted you all the time. Thank you for muscle testing for me.
You are welcome.
Yeah.
So I was just checking on Ann. She had some health problems. So anybody else have anything that they want to add? Anything? I don't want to waste your time too much, but just share some ideas if you had them, or anything else.
Can I ask you?
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask her about muscle testing. Is that something that you offer as a service?
I could, a lot of times I'll just do it over the phone for people,
Oh, okay.
but I have I have one workshop on muscle testing that's on the Facebook Fanatics, so
Okay.
that you could review that, or, call me afterwards and we'll see if we could do something,
Okay, thank you.
This is Janie.
Hi there.
Or is that lady still on, or maybe?
I think she's done.
Okay. Well, anyway, I've been having lots of jaw pain and teeth pain and just pain all over, period, and especially my feet, my heels and my feet. And this has been going on for a long, long time, I guess. And the left heel was always worse, and it was just a terribly, terribly sharp pain that I could hardly even walk on it, sort of. And finally, I've been taking vitamin D3, just exactly like everybody told me I needed to do, because my vitamin D level was really bad. Well, I've come to the conclusion that maybe vitamin D3 is causing my problems, because I took some the other day, and this was like in the morning, and everything else too. And I take a calcium supplement a little bit too, because my fingernails get really bad if I don't. Anyway, I tell you, I had the awfulest pains all day you ever saw. I could barely walk. It was just terrible. And I thought, you know what? All that happened when I took that drops. So the next,
Wow.
I made sure that I only took my calcium supplement with the D3 in it, like was already in there and whatever, and didn't take that extra drops. Most all those pains subsided really quick. I haven't had hardly a hurting heel for 2 or 3 days now, and this has been going on for almost a year and getting worse and worse. So I think probably you need to look into vitamin D3 a little bit if you start getting lots of pain someplace. And even the ones in my jaw have quit, my teeth quit hurting, and you name it. And I had no clue that was what was even behind any of this. But you need to take it too, but make sure, I guess, that you have your calcium and everything at the same time. Probably the main thing. Don't take any extra someplace like I have been told to do. They say you need to take 2 or 3 drops of that. Well, baloney. After a while.
Wow. So that isn't, very interesting, and a great warning for all of us, that sometimes we think something's supposed to be safe and it may not be.
Yeah. So really, if you really get lots of pains in your mouth and your teeth, and where your calcium is located in your body a lot, your joints and everywhere, that must have been what most of it was, because a good percent of that has totally subsided within the last 2 or 3 days. So
Wow.
I just thought I'd mention that, just in case somebody can't figure out why they feel bad.
And that's why we're here, is to share ideas. That's perfect. I'm so sorry, though, that wasn't right for you.
Well,
All right.
I gotta
Anybody
figure
else?
it out. That's what makes me so happy, is the fact
Yeah,
that
you got it figured out.
I didn't know what was going on.
Anybody else have anything to add? Okay, gals, I think, we've kind of had the start of the new year, and I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful month, and maybe not too much snow. I tried to, this picture here is my favorite picture for winter time, but we really don't want to be that much snow sometimes, do we? So I hope you're all warm and healthy and happy, and happy new year. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Love you. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Love you all.